Welcome to another episode of AI 10X, brought to you by 10 Leaves.
It is great to be back.
I was scrolling through my inbox this morning, and I swear, every third email is a pitch for some new AI tool.
Oh, yeah.
Write better emails, generate cooler images. It feels like we're just drowning in tools.
It's the gold rush phase, you know? Everyone is selling shovels. Or in this case, slightly smarter shovels that guess where you want to dig.
Exactly. And honestly, it's starting to feel a bit incremental. Like, okay, I saved 5 minutes on an email. That's nice. But today we're diving into something that I think is a much harder break from that.
A real shift.
Yeah, we aren't talking about tech-enabled companies. We're looking at a completely different animal.
Right. We're looking at the AI native startup.
And just to frame this for everyone listening, we're not just using AI native as a buzzword.
No.
We're digging into excerpts from AI 10X, the rise of the AI native startup, and they get really specific on building companies around autonomous agents. The distinction they make is it's massive.
It really is.
It's not about companies that use AI. It's about companies that are built around it.
And, it sounds like a subtle semantic difference, but as we go through the source material, you'll see it's actually a tectonic shift in how a business functions.
Okay.
So the mission for this deep dive is to unpack that, to really understand what happens to the very definition of a workforce when your primary engine isn't human.
So let's start at the very bottom, the definition. Because I feel like if I ask 10 people what AI native means, I'd get 10 different answers. What's the bright line our source material draws?
Well, the source is actually very, very strict about this. They have a kind of litmus test.
Okay.
In a traditional startup, even a modern SaaS company, AI is a utility.
Yeah.
It's in the toolbox. You have Slack, you have Excel, and you have ChatGPT. A human picks up the tool, uses it, and puts it down.
The human is the driver. The AI is the GPS?
Precisely. But in an AI-native startup, that whole dynamic is inverted. The AI isn't the tool.
It's the workforce.
AI is the workforce.
Okay, AI is the workforce. That's a great bumper sticker, but let's get concrete. What does that actually look like in the trenches? Are we just talking about a better chatbot?
And that's the trap. People think automation, but the source distinguishes between task automation and core operations. We're not talking about a bot that answers what are your hours. We're talking about an entire operational layer that runs the business. The text lists 5 pillars: customer support, sales, coding, analytics, and decision-making.
Let's pause on sales for a second, because sales feels so human. Relationships, nuance, reading the room. How does an AI native startup just hand that over?
Well, think about what a sales process really is. It's prospecting, finding leads, it's qualifying them, it's outreach, it's follow-up.
The grind.
And in a traditional company, you hire an SDR, a sales development rep, to do that grind. They might use AI to help write an email, but the human is always the bottleneck.
Right. The human has to eat and sleep.
Exactly. In the AI native model the text describes, you don't hire the SDR. You deploy a sales agent.
You deploy it.
This agent scans the web for leads, analyzes their profiles, drafts a hyper-personalized email, sends it, waits, follows up. And it only pings a human when the prospect says, let's book a call.
So the workforce here isn't helping the SDR. It is the SDR.
Correct. And it scales infinitely. 10 agents or 10,000, that's the fundamental rewiring.
Okay, so moving down the list, coding. We're all seeing GitHub Copilot, but again, there's usually a developer there hitting tab.
Right. But in the AI native context, we're moving toward autonomous software engineering. The source talks about agents that can take a high-level issue like the login button's broken on mobile.
Yeah.
And the agent finds the file, writes the fix, runs the test to make sure it didn't break anything else, and then pushes the code.
Without a human reviewing every single line.
Eventually, yes. Or with a human only reviewing the final merge. The grunt work of coding is handled by the agent.
Then you have analytics.
This one is really interesting. Usually analytics is passive. You look at a dashboard, but an analytics agent is active. It's watching the data in real time.
So if it sees a dip in conversions,
it doesn't just display a red arrow. It investigates. It looks for correlations. It might even flag the sales agent to say, hey, stop pitching feature X. It's not landing.
Wow. Okay, that connects to the final pillar, which I think is the most controversial one in the text. Decision-making.
Yeah. This is the big leap.
I mean, we usually think of AI as the thing that crunches the numbers so we can make the decision. We're the executives. We make the final call. The source is saying that changes.
It is. The argument is, if the agent has better data, faster processing, and zero emotional bias, why do we treat the human as the gold standard for every decision?
Because it's scary to let the machine steer the ship.
It is scary. But the source suggests that in an AI-native startup, removing that human bottleneck from routine decisions is the only way to achieve the kind of velocity they're aiming for.
So you don't wait for the weekly meeting.
If you have to wait for a weekly all-hands meeting to decide to lower prices by 5%, you're already too slow. An agent can make that call in milliseconds.
So if the AI is doing all this, sales, coding, analytics, it brings us to the founder. The text says there's a shift from hiring people to deploying agents.
Deploying agents. I love that phrasing. It sounds almost military or strategic.
It reminds me of a real-time strategy game. You aren't playing the soldier, you're the commander moving units on a map.
That's a perfect analogy. The source highlights that it's not just vocabulary, it's a mindset change. When you hire a person, you get variables.
Yeah.
Culture, burnout, politics.
Right.
When you deploy an agent, you're executing a specific capability. You need it, you spin it up. You don't, you spin it down.
But let me play devil's advocate here. If I deploy a script to send emails, that's just a mail merge. That's from Windows 95. What makes these agents different?
This is a critical distinction. The source lists 3 specific characteristics that separate an autonomous agent from a simple script. First,
They collaborate.
collaborate, so they talk to each other. Yes. In a script, step A triggers step B. It's linear. In an agentic workflow, the sales agent might message the research agent and say, I need more info on this company.
And the research agent just goes and gets it.
It goes and gets it, hands it back, and the sales agent continues. They're passing context back and forth. It's like a team.
So trait number 2.
They learn from data.
Does that mean they're retraining the whole model every night? Because that sounds expensive.
Not retraining the base model, no. It means they have memory. They use things like vector databases to store past interactions.
Okay.
So if a customer support agent solves a tricky problem today, the next time that problem comes up, the agent remembers the solution. It gets better over time. It doesn't start from zero.
It's getting more experienced.
Exactly. And the third trait is the big one. They execute tasks independently.
Autonomy.
Right. Tool waits for you to click. An agent has a goal. You say increase leads by 10%, and the agent figures out the steps to get there. It navigates, it fills out forms, it writes copy, it has agency.
So when you combine those 3 collaborations, learning and autonomy, you're not really looking at software anymore.
You're looking at a digital employee.
Or a digital workforce.
A high-leverage workforce. And this leads to the structural result the source emphasizes. Scaling faster with leaner teams.
I want to unpack leaner teams. In the tech world, lean can be a euphemism for we ran out of money.
It can be, yes.
Yeah.
But here they mean lean by design.
So it's not about downsizing. It's about the initial build.
Exactly. The source argues that a 3-person startup today can have the operational output of a 30-person company from 5 years ago. Because those 3 humans aren't doing the work.
They're directing the fleet.
They're directing the fleet. It completely changes the unit economics of a startup. You don't need a Series A just to hire a sales team. You just pay for compute.
Which is a huge competitive advantage. But there's a bigger one than just cost. The source says there's one primary advantage that trumps everything else.
It's the whole point of doing this.
Is it accuracy?
No, it's speed.
Weeks to minutes. That was the phrase that really jumped out at me.
Let's really drill into that. Weeks to minutes. Think about a standard corporate decision. Say you want to pivot your marketing strategy. What happens?
Oh, I've lived this. First, you notice the numbers are down. Then you call a meeting. Someone has to go pull the data. That takes days. Then another meeting.
Yeah.
Then brainstorming. Then approvals.
You're talking weeks.
3 weeks minimum.
Exactly. The weeks of deliberation. Now, the AI native environment. The analytics agent notices the drop in real time. It pings the marketing agent. The marketing agent sees headline A is failing and generates 5 new variations. It deploys them to a small test audience immediately.
Without a meeting.
Without a single meeting.
Yeah.
The agents collaborate, synthesize, and execute. By the time the founder wakes up, the system has already identified that headline C is the winner and has shifted the budget.
That is the minutes.
That is the minutes.
It's incredible, but also a little unnerving. Doesn't it risk spiraling out of control? What if it hallucinates and decides to sell everything for $0?
That's a very real risk. And the source makes it clear that guardrails are the new management. You're not managing people. You're managing the parameters of the agents. But with those guardrails, this speed enables 3 key strategic moves: experimentation, pivoting, and growth.
Okay, let's take experimentation.
Well, if the cost of failure is basically 0, because agents are cheap and fast. You can run 1,000 experiments in the time a human team runs one.
You can just throw everything at the wall.
But in an optimized way.
Yeah.
And that leads directly to pivoting.
Because the feedback loop is instant.
Right. The data says this isn't working. You don't wait for the quarterly board meeting. You pivot that afternoon. You just reassign the agents to a new goal.
And finally, growth.
Growth just becomes a function of that successful experimentation. Once the agents find a strategy that works, they can scale it instantly. You don't need a 6-month hiring spree to onboard 50 sales reps.
You just increase the API limits.
You scale the compute.
The source calls this pace unprecedented.
And for once, I don't think that's hype. We haven't seen this in economic history. We are moving from a world of deliberation where action is expensive to a world of instant execution where action is cheap.
It feels like asymmetrical warfare. If you're a big legacy company with a 6-week approval process and you're fighting a 3-person AI native startup that iterates every 10 minutes.
I'd lose. It's like bringing a knife to a drone fight. The incumbent just physically cannot move fast enough. By the time they've scheduled a meeting to discuss the threat, the startup has already iterated 3 more times.
This really contextualizes all the money flooding into this space. It's not just chatbots are cool.
No, it's a structural advantage that breaks the old physics of business.
So, to recap, we've defined the AI native startup as a deployer of a workforce, not a user of tools.
Right, and that workforce is made of agents that are collaborative, learning, and autonomous.
And the result of all that is just radical speed, moving from decision cycles of what's down to minutes.
It's a blueprint for a new era. And what's wild is that we're just in the first inning of this. Right now, being AI native is a novelty. It makes headlines.
But you're thinking about the internet?
Exactly. In 1999, we talked about internet companies.
Right. This is an internet business.
Now, every company is an internet company. You don't say, I'm building an internet startup. You just say, I'm building a startup.
So you think the term AI native is going to disappear?
I do. In 5 years, this architecture agents, automated operations, rapid iteration, it'll just be the default. It'll be the only way to build a competitive company.
We're watching the installation of a new economic operating system.
That's a great way to put it.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave the listener with something to chew on. We talked about the founder deploying agents and the agents making decisions.
Right.
So here's the provocative thought to take with you. If decision cycles are shrinking to minutes and the workforce is autonomous and the agents are learning and collaborating, what does the future of the founder actually look like?
It's the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it?
If the agents are doing the work and even making the small decisions, the humans are there too. Just dream, set the North Star.
That's the optimistic view. The human provides the vision, the machine provides the execution. But it also raises a tougher question.
Which is?
Are we moving toward a world where a unicorn company, a billion-dollar business, is just one person and 10,000 agents?
And if that happens, what does the concept of a job even mean for everyone else?
I have to figure out how many dreamers the market can support. Because if execution becomes a commodity, then vision is the only thing left with value.
A fascinating, slightly scary, but incredibly exciting future. This was another episode of AI 10X brought to you by 10 Leaves.